So lucky.
Guys, I noticed sitting up here, when our panel came up, the cameras came up, right? So I'm just wondering, you guys are like, I think, you know, this panel's going to be great. Well, okay, food, and food. Pizza 4P, we know. Chocolate, we love. Definitely. So we're going to have a great time talking about, you know, I guess supply chains and what you're actually doing about the business. So maybe we start with chocolate. So tell us about chocolate and chocolate supply chains. What do you actually, how are you actually changing, you know, or have you changed the supply chain for the chocolate industry? I know you've done some great work, so we'd love you to share.
We're doing our best. So I'll try to be short and simple. The cocoa and chocolate supply chain is one of the worst supply chain in the world. Deforestation, child labor, slave labor, maintaining cocoa farmers, 7 million of them, mostly in Africa, in a state of extreme poverty. So that is the hidden side of this fantastic product that I have never seen anyone in my life who does not love chocolate. So the love for chocolate is real. And as you can understand, in this supply chain, there are huge issues. So I was lucky enough to arrive in Vietnam in 93, 94, and be able to start a totally new approach to this supply chain from scratch. Vietnam is a fantastic country, open to innovation, open to passion, loyal people in my team. And so we have created over the years, that's been like over 25 years ago, we have created a very innovative, disruptive supply chain that is addressing farmers' income, addressing deforestation, addressing quality issues in the chocolate. And this model, which we call our sustainable cocoa sourcing strategy, has now been adopted in more than 10 cocoa producing countries in the world, namely Mexico, Uganda, PNG, Philippines. So all this was created in Vietnam in Bentray with a little team of people. And I'm happy to say today that we are leading the game globally in terms of disruptive and sustainable chocolate. We are carbon neutral scope 2. We planted 40,000 trees last year. And we see in our portfolio that the sustainable product, even though they are more expensive and more costly, they grow faster in volume and they produce higher gross margin.
Thank you for changing the world from Vietnam. That's an incredible story. So now we go to pizza. And it's not just pizza, by the way. Pizza 4P has a lot of other stuff, and everything is yummy. Yummy. Okay, so delivering wow, sharing happiness. Do you guys know about this? And also make the world smile for peace. So I would like you guys to share this mission and this vision, right? And you've had it since 2005. How does that translate now to what you're doing in ESG?
You look totally not happy. So I just worry about that.
Yes, let me talk about my feeling now. I'm so nervous because I'm so reluctant to speak after a great presentation. Heineken and
like 100% zero waste. That things that oh my gosh, that's a dream. What we want to achieve.
So compared to them, we are kind of nothing. So
so now we a little bit get nervous.
Don't, because you know we want to hear about your your compost heap, your aquapana. We want to hear about it. So tell us about your vision and your mission and ESG, please. You have a lot to share.
Okay, so the vision and the mission. So let me talk a bit about our vision and mission. So long story in short, I had a prolonged depression in early 20s, really hard. Then accidentally or coincidentally, I made a pizza oven in my garden in 2005 as a hobby.
Not coincidence, but
Because my friend asked me
no,
to
not
build.
friend, ex-girlfriend. That's no, not friend. Confirmed.
Yes, that was it was secret. I was hiding. My ex-girlfriend asked me to build a pizza oven. Long time, but finally, yes, I had to reveal. So anyway, sorry. Then after the completion of 6 months, I fully enjoyed like entertain, the pizza party and hosting the pizza workshop, the family. Then there is a miracle, special moment that was simple. That I just realized that I was good enough, and I felt I was happy. That was wow, because I was always looking for something outside to be enough and to be happy, but it was totally wrong. I just realized that moment. So that changed entire my life. The depression was gone. So that was a strong experience. Then I thought I dreamed in that moment that as many as people, if as many as people realize or they had that kind of the moment, then feel the happiness, then the world will be nicer. That's I felt. Then I came up with the idea that why don't we spread that realization, or to let people realize that happiness is already there. So that is our vision. Then we start the
Not
Pizza
eggs.
we start Pizza for Peace in 2011 with to spread the trigger, because in my case that the trigger was pizza, but so why don't we start from the pizza? Then we started the Pizza Open to spread the trigger to make the world smile for peace by delivering wow, sharing happiness. Sorry, that's our vision and the mission. Then sorry, sorry, maybe I didn't answer to question, but
Yes, you did. What about ESG?
ESG, meaning for us.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, as Masuko shared, for us, the vision is the matter. So, like we do in a business, that we truly see that we want to achieve that vision. To achieve that vision, we using the business as a tool, something like that. The way. So to consider to achieving the vision, we committed the people's happiness, something like his experience. So happiness is here, and then or if you realize to you are already happy, we see that if you committed or contribute other or consider other or supporting, if you're feeling good, oh, I'm doing good, or I can support other or community, that actually make you happy. So that's a trigger. So we see that kind of experience in their pizza party in the back garden, as well as our restaurant in serving the guests. Actually, I make the guest in front of me. That makes me happy, actually. So the same things, if consider about society or next generation or the app, the bigger more, then that actually makes me happy more. So that's pretty much connect to our vision. So we see that ESG is not something responsible or things, but one of the fundamental element to achieving our vision.
Excellent. So I'm going to go back to you, Grisha, right? And just to ask a very serious question, because I think it's necessary to ask. You obviously have very clear vision and purpose of what you're trying to do for the cocoa industry. Now, have you ever stopped doing business with somebody because they don't align with the vision and purpose that you have?
Yes, actually, my vision of ESG, especially when people ask me or raise the problem of the cost of engaging in a sustainable strategy for any company. This is one of the problems of the world. We always look at the cost of doing something, and we forget the cost of not doing something. The cost of not engaging in ESG today is going to be very simple. It will be the disappearance, the bankruptcy of the companies or the group who ignore ESG. And I would like to take the opportunity to link two questions that we had today, one on greenwashing and one on the UN new accounting standard. Greenwashing today represents about 70% of the sustainable claim by any private companies, because everybody needs the urge to do a sustainability claim, but only about 30% will walk the talk. How to change that? It's actually very simple. If you follow the initiative of several organizations, university, Harvard in US, a group in France, the UN, we need to change the accounting rules of any company so that the impact of the impact and the cost business create on the environment, on the society, on the planet, those costs have to be included in the P&L of the company. That is so simple. Because actually, if you look at the situation today, every P&L of every company, or most of them, are lying because they consider that anything coming from the environment, the water and so on, is free of charge. So it's disposable. The day you introduce this in your P&L, then your EBITDA is going to go negative, and then the shareholders are going to say, hey, why do you have EBITDA, a negative EBITDA? And of course, every company will have to change their game, otherwise they will lose shareholders. Okay, so that's the way I see the future. So coming back to your question, sorry for the digression, ESG and sustainable strategy will work through companies if we manage to create a chain reaction. So today, my company is carbon neutral scope 2. It's a big achievement because there are not many companies in Vietnam who are already carbon neutral scope 2. And next year, our products are going to be carbon neutral scope 3. I believe we are going to be one of the first chocolate in the world to be carbon neutral. What does it mean? If I want to reach this carbon neutrality, it's a calculation, right? So, of course, we have solar panel on all our factory, but it's far from being enough. So we need the support of all our suppliers. If they are carbon neutral, my calculation of carbon neutrality is going to be made easier. And so naturally, step by step, the suppliers who do not give me a clean act of how they run their company in terms of carbon neutrality, water balance, treating their employee right, they're going to disappear because I will go naturally to choose those who are doing the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So very pertinent answers in greenwashing, etc. Huge, huge topic, and thank you for sharing. So now I'm going to bring it back to individuals, right? And there was questions about, individuals, us as, citizens, what can we do for ESG? And I want to come to your restaurant, one particular one in Xuân Thuy. I haven't been to all of the pizza 4Ps, but I go to Xuân Thuy one a lot, right? So if you guys know, if you go into Xuân Thuy, you see there's hydroponics, aquaponics, and there is a compost, etc. Maybe you can share a little bit about why are you guys doing it in that restaurant? Is it to lead by example, or is there something, is a bigger science behind that?
All right. The one, we installed some like aquaponics, and then we try to show some small circular economy, like a small model in there, so that first things I saw, when we open Xuân Thuy, D2, there are a lot of guests already have been the other Pizza for Peace store. So we want to make that store something different, and then we see that there are a lot of families there. So something can share the triggered we want to be the trigger to start some conversation related to the environment, like between the parent and then kid. So because we also have like 2 kids, that we love their nature or that related like play with nature together with our kids. But unfortunately, even compared to Tokyo, in Ho Chi Minh, we miss the nature in a very central of the city. So we want to make the Swansea to can feel that okay, where your food coming from, and then that food can, if we left over the food waste, where going, and then if compost, and then how can that earthworm eating that and making a compost, and then that earthworm can be eaten by the fish in a pond, and that kind of a circular economy. We want to make it the example, and then we put that the store concept as edutainment, entertainment plus education. So we don't want to force to kids to learn education, but we want to make their a trigger of the topics to start talking about between the family. So that's a small concept, but hopefully something start the conversation.
Well, I think that's amazing. It's a great concept, and it looks like jungle gym, right? Anybody's gone to that restaurant. I have a suggestion. Maybe what you can do is run classes, at peak hours to actually teach people how to compost. I think that would be great, right? Because, composting, we hear about that. I don't really know how to do it. There are different layers. I think it'd be great. Okay, I need to ask Rachel a serious question now. But we are taking questions as well, so please prepare. So in your view, I need you to go up to 30,000 feet now and say, what does Vietnam need to do to escalate sustainability, adhere to their green growth agenda? Let's go 30,000 feet.
Okay, first of all, I would like to intervene in your previous question about consumer. I suggest the Honorable Assembly to do an experimentation. Go to any restaurant in Ho Chi Minh City and ask for a plastic straw. They're nowhere to be seen. But 3 years ago, if you would ask for a non-plastic straw, they would not exist. So this is how fast the consumer can push for something sustainable, because there are, I guess, hundreds of millions of plastic straw who are no longer ending up in the ocean. You see, this is the power of the consumer. And this is exactly why sustainability should not be seen as a cost. It should be seen as the creation of a virtuous circle in which your sustainable strategy is used as a marketing and communication tool. If it's not greenwashing, pay attention, it's used to increase your business. And by the way, non-plastic straws are not convenient at all. I mean, they flip around after 2 minutes. I mean, they leave a nasty taste in your mouth. But that is the power of sustainability at the level of the consumer. No more plastic straw. And it's actually very funny to ask for a plastic straw in a restaurant, because the waitress will have an offended face, actually. So now, going back to the 30,000 feet altitude, 2 things. I am currently working on the organization of a big impact conference with the leader of the impact revolution, which is Sir Ronald Cohen. He's the one who is pushing very hard for a change of accounting rules. The day any company will have to declare its negative and positive impact in their P&L, Heineken is going to benefit, because they are already doing the right thing, so their EBITDA will increase. And any of their competitors who is not taking care about water balancing or carbon neutrality will have their EBITDA decrease. And then the market law are going to decide who is the winner in this business. And so I believe that one thing that the government has to do is to promote the change of international accounting rule adaptation in Vietnam, so that negative impact, positive impact enter in the P&L, not as an option, not as a, nice to do. as a must-do, because then there is no way to cheat. If you think another example, what do you think what happened to a tobacco company if they had to pay for the cost of lung cancer? They would go bankrupt overnight. So the problem today is that a lot of business are creating negative impact on the environment, the society, the planet, and they don't pay for it. If they pay for it, it's okay, because if they have to pay for it, they will stop. Okay, so that's one thing, the adoption of accounting rule. And the other thing, I believe that there is an intense communication to be made at the level of all business in Vietnam to explain that sustainability is not that complicated. It's not a cost. It's a way to look at the future with the satisfaction of doing the right thing.
Thank you. So, one question for you guys before we go to the audience, okay? So, you are in 7 cities, so I wanted to bring you down to community. Pizza 4P is in 7 cities. Do you see a difference in the way the people in the different cities react towards ESG? Is Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi more developed in their thinking? You know, is it different from Bin Dung? You know, can you share?
Yes, this is here from my observation. Like in terms of area difference, actually I do not see much difference. But we always conducting the survey after publishing the sustainability report to determine the next coming year's materiality priority. So we conduct a survey for our stakeholder, not only our guests, but the shareholders or internal, we call partner, our employee, like our partners, supplier. And then based on that survey, I cannot purely say their nationality, but the answer coming from the answer in Vietnamese language and like English. So basically expert and maybe the Vietnamese like a guest answer, that result is slightly different, the prioritization. So that was a bit interesting for me. If talking about the area differences, I see there somehow that Da Nang is quite special and different, like a reaction, not only guest, but also our partner. Like I see that because everybody remember the October, we got a strong storm like headed there. And then of course, our business also we impacted a lot, but not only that, many our partners, even private house also broken down, and it was a historical like a flooding. So that kind of like a serious damage by some natural disaster, then people start to think about, oh, this is my own issue, not something like, okay, climate change is something big, like a very future, or okay, somebody like a government think about their future. But no, this is actually my own issue. So I see that not only that, but Da Nang has a beach. So also plastic waste issue, also they react a most. So that's maybe they're not only area, but the people feel they're impacted. Then they're seeing the issue as their own private issue connect. So that is the most like affected the perception of people, and they start taking action. That's my subjective observation.
In the same direction, 4 or 5 years ago, 30% of the cocoa trees in Bến Tre were destroyed because of the salinization of the Mekong Delta. So that is climate change in action. It is the seawater goes up, enter into the Mekong Delta. The cocoa trees, they don't like salt, so they die.
So we all know about the challenges with the Mekong, and that's one of the reasons why we have to accelerate, net zero for Vietnam, right? I mean, you're talking about livelihoods here, very serious problem.